was his belief that he was distinct. He, you know, the way we see him, I am the Son of God, and now breaks commonality with other realized, realized beings.
He never said that, and he never thought he was different.
No, he kept saying, I am the Son of Man, anthropo. I understand.
And
Jesus
he said
himself.
everyone is that. Everyone, you know,
Weos,
he didn't.
Weos anthropo, Son of Man. He did say that, and it gets interpreted too much as Son of God.
Yeah, so.
But, yes, she's right. That's very important. That Jesus himself was not a Christian. You know, that's important. She's right.
I have some supporting the theory to told us what is inside the projection cells. In everybody, the inside have the 5 levels. One is the 兽性 animal 兽性
Yeah, animal
energy.
Animal.
Yes.
One is the 人性 human energy.
Yes.
One is the 天性。天性是怎么说？是
intuitive.
Yes.
Intuitive. One is the 灵性。
That's the soul consciousness.
One is the 神性。
That's the
神性 God.
God is approach the
when
infinity.
it's approaching infinity.
Yeah.
So these 5 kind of the things, everybody have that.
Yes.
But percentage is different.
Yes.
Distribution is different.
Distribution is different in percentage of distribution.
So you inside structure, projection to outside.
Yes.
So you face the outside, everything is come from inside. If we inside the 神性, the God, the energy is more.
Yes.
We saw we meet the world. It's love.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
It's create.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
If with the animal energy is more.
Yes.
We make the outside.
Yes.
Is a nervous. Is a fight.
Right.
Is so we life is a change the percentage.
Yes.
From up.
Okay.
Yes. And sometimes even a moment, dramatic experience breaks the separation between and all one field of energy, right? In Ying, this is what Master Li liked so much. If I could read you one, this is not my experience. This is I think she's at Harvard. Her name is Jill Bolt Taylor, okay? I think she's got 30 million hits on YouTube. So popular.
Oh, was she the one that injured her head?
Yes.
I read her book.
Ah, it's great, right?
Yes.
So I have her in my book. It very much relates.
She is actually a brain surgeon.
Well, not brain surgeon, neuroscientist.
Neuroscientist.
So she had a stroke. You know this word?
Stroke.
Stroke 就是
什么呢 ？Stroke.
No.
枪。
Yeah, she had a stroke. 就是那个
Taylor. Dr. Taylor.
Brain, huh?
Is Dr. Taylor.
Taylor, you know this?
Taylor.
You know, okay.
中风.
So no difference between her arm and the wall, right? Everything, right? All blend. Yeah. So
I often use this story
good.
for the people.
Yeah.
That is everything is together. Is one. Is the one.
So this is what you're saying, that now in this age, more of these kinds of experiences are happening. So this 4th dimension idea is coming through, breaking through.
Yes.
And that's right, and we need a context for it. And
yes.
That's what.
Left brain,
that's your field of research.
My book, I tell you, we'll come back in a year. I'll reread his revised version. He can read my book, and we'll sit down and talk.
Yeah, because it's not about that. Who and who become a famous speaker. It's not about that.
He's good. He's got a good nature.
Yes.
He's very good for this.
Yes,
I'm better behind the scenes.
Yeah, because like how to say is that he really reaches a point is that he embraces everything, everybody, acceptance of everyone. You know what I mean? That's the thing. That's all of us that in this three world that we want to achieve is able to accept everyone. There's no differences.
Well, this is
You know?
very true.
There's no differences. That's
This is
why,
very true.
you know, for me, the breakthrough was that one day that I woke up, I began to realizing Trump is just part of me. You know what I mean?
If you shut one person out, you've ruined the whole connection. There cannot be one single person who's left out.
Yes.
Yes.
Because he's just part of me.
In
you
the-
know?
In the inner target.
Then I have no
can tell.
conflict anymore. You know what I mean? I don't have like inner conflict anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not angry at him anymore.
Right.
When I'm at a political
Right.
group, right, I hear people saying like things, you know, I'm not angry anymore. Even though I maybe express what I am stand for, you know, care for the environment and this and that, but I have no anger anymore. You know, I'm not triggered by him anymore, you know?
Also, look how much progress we make, you know, pendulum swings back and forth. Trump is so bad with his policies, but inspires many youth movement, right, to go other way, right? And now we have...
Look at the Chinese, you know, like the communists, they don't need to have their propaganda anymore. Because you know what? Everyone is awakened is that capitalism is not where I want to be.
Right, okay.
You know? Just imagine of 1.6 billion people and they don't need to do any advertising, propaganda, and they just come to realization capitalism is not what China wants to be.
So I have can I follow up with a
You know what I
question?
mean?
No,
That's
no.
huge!
Look, like I said,
That's 1/4 of the population.
the biggest thing I found when I went to China was very happy, robust people under this communist rule,
So-
not people beaten down. You know?
You said,
Really, everybody seemed happy to me.
when I asked about Trump, you said that it's part of us and acceptance, and everybody has their homework to do in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Could part of your homework, is your homework always focused on you? Or could part of your homework be to change the minds or the souls or the balance in people who are Trump supporters? Or is your homework always just about
You.
internally what's going on with you?
Well,
Yeah, that's a good question.
actually these two is together. Like first is that, you know, any kind of inter-conflicts or whatever, anything that causes you not happy, or whoever is giving you any kind of trouble, he's saying that that's your homework,
Is
right?
the environment part of your homework? That's my
The
question.
environment? Yes. I mean, that was the whole
'Cause
reason
that's
that
outside of you.
That's-
Is it part
yeah.
of your homework?
Well, look, there's internal work, which is always
Right.
yourself, right? You know, when somebody is causing you unhappy, you know, you have a bad relationship with your husband or whatever, it's your own problem. It's not because of your husband. It's yourself.
Right.
It's yourself.
Oh,
the
you're gonna
source,
let him off the hook now.
Wait, my favorite line.
the source is within yourself.
The one line from my book, I keep telling my children, because they're not going to read my book. I say, but one line, this is it. Anger, right? Anger is always a lesson. And to the degree that you stay angry, you're not learning it.
Yes.
That's the one teaching I want them to get.
And that's only within yourself,
Right.
not anyone else.
That's
Right.
Right, that's something is that, you know, that's your own practice, you know, your own homework. Now, on the other hand is that some people, you know, there's also criticism, there's a lot of criticism people have for Buddhists. They say that they're selfish, they only care about their own practice, you know, they only care about themselves. It's not true. We have Buddhist Xu Yin Fa Shi, right? Xu Yin Fa Shi, he lived to 120 years old, you know, right? He was involved with lots of things. He was even giving advice to Taihou, you know, right? He was involved with politics. He was involved with the war. He was involved with, you know, anti-Japanese war, and he was involved with so many things.
I can
You know?
explain this one. Listen. In the Buddhist system, have 3 levels. The same theory is a 烦恼即菩提, is a suffer is the chance to get the wisdom.
Right.
The suffer, everybody suffer is the
Right.
chance to get the wisdom.
Right.
Right.
So the lower level is Luo Han. Luo Han is a realized people. They can they not every suffer from themselves, not suffer from themselves.
Okay.
So if he is changed, every suffer changed to the wisdom. But the second level is Pusa. Pusa, the level is 把别人的
Everyone else is suffering.
everyone suffer is he get wisdom the chance.
It's his.
Everybody the suffer become he get wisdom the chance.
Yeah.
Because he realized every other people, everything
Is
is
part
come
of-
from
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
Is come from inside. He changed the inside, can change the outside everything. So he take a responsibility for everything. That's the second level, is a Pusa. The top level is Buddha, is for that is not suffer in the world, because inside is not suffer. So
Right.
project to the outside is beautiful, is
No suffering.
not suffering.
Yeah.
That's in Buddha's sense. So they can take a responsibility for everything in the Buddha this level. There's a Buddha system sense.
So Christianity is basically is that it doesn't have these intermediate layers, you know. It's just God and you, you know. All of your sin, God take it for you.
Yes, when Jesus, he says, the words that I speak are not me. The words that I speak are the Father speaking through me.
Yeah.
To me, this is like, I used to think these Hare Krishna people are the most idle people on the planet. All day in the park, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But what I start to realize, they're getting in touch with the source, realizing it's not, they keep affirming it's not in me.
Yes.
And that every time they say Hare Krishna, that's what they're affirming.
They're
And that's why they're
connecting.
so happy.
Yeah.
Because they're not miserable doing
They're
it.
connecting to the high.
Buddhist meditators are often on their mat like, when is this going to be over? But the Hare Krishna people celebrate because they feel their connection. You know? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Alan Watts, you know this man? Another name you need to know.
Alan Watts.
You can watch videos. A very important explainer of Eastern thoughts to America. His book, The Way of Zen, still may be the best book I know on Zen. He has now the kids, I point to my wife, our kids, the millennials, love him. And they've taken his talks. He has a big, booming, his wonderful, deep voice. You know Alan Watts, of course, we've talked about it. And they've made videos out of all of this. Anyway, one of his videos, I have not watched yet, is how to stop talking to yourself. Because he's, you know, we always internal dialogue. Entanglement, thoughts,
Yeah.
self, anxiety. So I'm thinking, yeah, Hare Krishna, one way out. I haven't told my wife this yet, but I would like to hang out with these people a little bit. I'm looking for people who are joyful. If you're a serious person, I don't want to hear about, you don't know enough, you're spiritual, I don't want to hear your spiritual talk. This guy, I love immediately. Look at the joy. He's a happy. That tells me right away. That's all. I came here to see that. You know, joy. You have joy too because you live with him. My wife, she lives with me. She doesn't have as much joy.
That's called, you know, a realized person.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
a realized person is a really embraces everything. Because internally they already have no conflicts.
Yes.
You know,
Because life is a celebration. It's a joy.
they don't have a source to be angry at
Yes,
anyone anymore.
yes.
You know,
Yes.
that's all of us us want to become,
Yes.
right?
We have a sentence like the mantra. That is you're right. Like the mantra.
You're right.
Yeah, you're right. If you explain your thought, you're right. But the second, I can ask myself, what is right?
Yes.
Why you are right?
Interesting.
I link you and the Tao
Yes.
and the Tao.
Yes.
You help me
Yes.
to realize you and Tao.
Yes.
Link.
Yes.
How to link this?
Funny. Yes. Yes.
Everything
Yes.
is.
Yes.
Because 法法通道, everything is linked with the Tao,
Yeah.
with the 0 dimension and the n dimension.
And so I have to.
Everything leads to God.
Everything leads to God, but just to share, it's almost a joke, but there's this very famous Broadway show called Fiddler on the Roof, one of the most famous, all about Jewish.
I've seen that.
You've seen it. So in this, one man makes an argument about what to do with their situation. And Tevye, the lead character, he says, he says, you're right. Then the other guy says the exact opposite. Tevye says, you're right. So another person says, he's right, she's right, they can't both be right. Tevye goes, you're right.
Because somebody to say that you are right, they have the ruler inside. But the ruler is shorter with the infinity. Every ruler is shorter. So if we use the ruler is infinity, everything is right.
So good. You turn on TV and it's left against right, Republican there.
Yeah.
If they would begin by saying, you're right, like what is right? Because everybody has something that's right on each side. If they would begin there and then go to where the difference is, begin with the commonality, not make it
That's
just
me
the
and
end.
my husband when we walk on the beach. That's what we discuss about. Basically, we discuss and saying is that what is the commonality that between the two parties that they want, but then what is the commonality the two parties and the people want? They just need to figure that out.
Right.
Once that they figure that out, this country will be on the right path. That's what we initially, that's what when the pandemic happened, and then all of these black and Spanish people are dying. That's what we discuss, about. What is the commonality,
But people use the difference to make the sense of self
Currently,
stronger.
Yes.
Just like black, white, or whatever. It's got to be some other.
Currently,
Tea party. Where did we get this just dead
currently they just, like going to the extreme and splitting the country,
Because the more other you are, the more self I feel. It's terrible. That's destructive, yes.
All right, so in terms of people's homework, our homework is to accept that Trump is part of the whole and has a positive, or positive is the wrong word, but has a potential to actually do good.
Currently, actually, I was not able to get to that part of the translation. He already talked about that. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's basically saying that at this moment, part of the reason Trump appears is that the system that has already been so broken, so unfair,
Needs to break.
and this system need to break.
It needs to be seen for
Yeah,
what
needs
it
to
is.
be seen and needs to be broken.
Yes.
Need to go to the extreme so that people can actually awaken to it.
Which is what you're doing with your smashing it, getting it out there.
And that's what I
Seeing
want
it.
to know. I mean, so
And-
you would agree that there are people here have homework and have jobs to make other people see how broken it is.
Yeah, how broken it is.
There are people like me who work on this level as a translator between entanglement and more entanglement and entanglement and less entanglement, because there's no other work for me to do. But how to make what you're doing legitimize what I'm doing? not just for me, but for a lot of Western people who seem very disenfranchised by the upper, the higher. You're
The
either
system.
here
Yeah.
because we live in a very dualistic system. So you're either here and enlightened or on the path, or you're down here and in the muck with Trump and anti-Trump. And there's got to be people who are facilitating that the ruler within be diminished. So where's your place for them? How do you think of them? How do you nurture them?
他就说我如何去是，他对具体细节跟我。
他的意思就是说，比如说像您的话是属于那种就是说已经觉醒的人哈，然后呢，那像他呢就是说有点就是说是在这种中层的这种就是worker，you know， 他们就是怎么说呢，就是来帮助别人理解。You know， 有这么多的那个就是conflict，you know， 在，然后他的意思就是说呢，就是，然后还有一些很多的人，比如说那些 Trump supporter， 那比如说在他的工作里面，他会遇到各种各样的这一类的人，那么这些人就是说他们的作用或者是他们的那个承担又是什么呢？就是他们的 responsibility 又是什么呢 ？You know， 他们跟这个整个的相关联又是什么呢？
其实the very important things is myself, the wake up first. If I am wake up, we can project to the wake up the person in this world.
Yes.
That's a very important thing.
Yes.
So I don't want to let the people wake up. I just find something I still on the way, wake up on the way. So we have to continue wake up everything in myself. That's the only way. When I wake up 就是只要我看到这个世界上还有冲突，还有烦恼，那就是我还有一些功课没有做完。你知道吗？那我就要让自己能够 realize 去完成这个功课的时候，我就会投影出越来越多的这个醒了的生命。
See, I think I'm sorry.
Another point. Why I do these things? Why I do that? I told you the outside and inside.
Yeah.
The inside is a very important thing. In Chinese, I have the two words. One is the 有为。有为怎么说？Action.
Doing something.
Doing something.
The duality of doing and not doing.
Another one is 无为。
Not
Non-doing, yes.
Not doing
Rick's
is
license plate, my Tai Chi teacher, Wu Wei, that's what he
Yeah,
did.
无为。那有为和有为 ，action and action， 永远有 different。有为和有为永远有 different。怎么说呢？
Yeah.
Right, I
When-
understand that not doing
Yeah.
is doing.
Only 无为
Right.
can link with every 有为。
So you see, when
What-
it's both are on the level of doing,
Yeah.
always will have a conflict. Like you want to do this, he wants to do that. Always there will be conflict.
There will be.
So the only way is that, you know, when somebody is able to achieve non-doing, then that non-doing will have no conflict with the doing.
And if we can connect every conflict, every 有为 action,
Okay.
I can become the 无不为. I can do everything.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I
So-
think that.
But there is a point. If in the outside have one action is cannot link with me,
Yeah.
just have a problem in myself. I have to fix that.
But just the words you use will translate into Western culture as ego psychology.
Yeah.
I am God, and the I is reinforced, and the not I is not egolessness, not doing, it's guilt, it's oppression, it's you don't have an ego, and it's very difficult, I feel, to translate what you're saying into a culture that believes it's just the opposite.
There is a 3 step. One step is like that.
Okay.
The second step, they can 见山不是山. The no mountain, no river.
I don't understand that.
The first level, we see that it's a cup.
Cup is a
Yes,
cup.
it's
Cup is a cup.
Right.
And then
The second level, cup is no cup.
Okay.
Just energy.
Okay.
Just image. This is not real, not a real thing.
Yeah.
Just projection.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
In the third level, the cup is cup, but I know cup come from where?
Inside.
Come from inside. Come from my inside confidence. Come from inside the wavelength, the coherent.
Yeah.
I have to use another common, another wavelength to break this. That's all. That is a 宵夜. The break the common.
yeah.
Yeah. Break the common.
Right.
Yeah. So actually, the work you are doing, that's what you are
And
doing.
there is if we can break out the common, in the moment we open the mind, with have the link
Connection
with the
with
higher dimension energy, we get a very, very happy inside.
Yes, and I'm not there yet, but I agree. My question is, I think there's going to be a real difficulty in the literal translation of what you're saying into a language that Western culture, with its dualism and its ego psychology, and the I is God, but in a very different way. It's almost like what you're saying, the literal translation of it is going to reinforce ego psychology and self in a negative way. And I think that's the real puzzle, is how to translate what you're saying, which is a transcendence of self and a going beyond self into an ego psychology that doesn't have that as a possibility. If you are beyond self, what you really need to do is get yourself and get your voice.
Well, if I may, there is something about if you have a damaged sense of self, and the West comes in with ego psychology and gives you a undamaged sense of self.
Right.
That's on one level, but then to get beyond both is, and it's true, maybe somebody with a damaged level of self, you don't go to just no self. You balance it out.
Yeah, you balance it out.
And then you can get out of the whole system.
You're able to, looking at your wounds with a different perspective, and realizing that actually comes from the pain, comes from your own projection.
Yes.
That's actually the work that you are doing.
Right. But yeah, it's the literal language to break through a whole different cultural paradigm, which I think is difficult. But you're right, it's like Marx, you go from nothing because you want capitalism, you want success, and only that, and you get beyond the whole materialistic. But yeah, I guess I'm getting very stuck in the details. I'm sorry, because it's really this point of translating this system, this way of thinking, into this system where the actual opposite is true. It's that detail. It's just to me a big knot.
Wait. Okay, I think is that it's actually really where it is. For example, is that when you say is that you feel that there's a conflict between is that here is that I'm trying to get my clients to break out, and to speak out, to instead of being shame and being suppressed and not speaking out. Right? You feel that, okay.
You're trying to get them to shatter themselves.
Yes, I understand. And you trying to get them, to having a voice rather than not having a voice, right? So you feel that there's a conflict there, you know, you are trying to get them stronger, feel about themselves rather than being suppressed, you know, because
you're trying to get them to get that shame out of themselves.
yes,
so it can
feeling
dissipate.
shame,
So it can dissipate so that
they can have their voice coming out.
What's stronger is
yeah.
not this
But
tight.
but you see, look, you know, that's exactly what he's talking about. You are stuck where your understanding, the conflict, you feel there's a conflict when you trying to get somebody to let their shame go and able to speak out with their own voice. You see there's a conflict of that to egoless, to wu wei, to no self. You see a conflict over there, but there's no conflict over there.
I guess I don't see a conflict. I see a gap. I see I see an inability to talk to each other.
But actually, there's no conflict there. There's no gap over there. See, once is that you are able to let it go. Once that you're able to let your own projection about yourself, you know, to let that go. Once that you are able to let that go, you actually is that you are getting closer to your own heart.
I understand.
Right?
I do understand.
And then actually is not, maybe initially, you know, you are not coming to this no self, you actually initially come into a more of a positive self. You know, instead of seeing shame, you actually seeing, look, I survived all of this.
In this culture, in this Western psychologistic, dualistic culture, when you get to that point, you've reached the top.
Yeah.
So
well, that is where we want to break.
Yeah, and that's where you want.
That's exactly you want to break.
Exactly,
yes.
to shatter and put it back together.
Yes. Yeah.
But I don't think there's a language to translate the talk.
No. Okay, let's his language talk. So I know actually where your stuck is. You know, okay, right? I just explained it to you.
Right.
You are basically saying that okay, I helped them to a point. Now they let their shame go. Okay. They become more affirmed of their self.
Right.
You know, they coming back more to their own heart. Okay.
What's the language
and
to
then,
go from here to there?
Here, I've got answer. If this is a problem, shame.
Shame. Yeah.
The shame is a problem. If we look from this angle, that is a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we come from here is a chance.
Right.
Here is a chance. Here is I upgrade myself the chance. So why we
hold on to it.
Put out.
Yeah.
That is a very good thing for me. Very good thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
how do you get people to come from the top to look down? When this is the top here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to resolve that.
Everybody, you need from the top to see the things.
Right.
So you don't need to move out that. Don't need to move out from your clan.
Yeah.
You tell her, that's your chance.
Yeah, that was your homework.
Yeah, that you can
you can rise above that.
You can rise above it.
Transcend that.
So your homework, if you do it correctly,
yeah,
if you get an
you
A,
can
you get
upgrade your
words.
life.
You get beyond the words.
You transcend that.
You transcend the ego psychology.
But you
level.
accept that. You accept that. This
Right.
was part of my experience.
Change the comment.
Who I am. This is who
But
I am.
the first you change the
But
comment.
you need to change that as the guiding teacher. See, when you don't see that as a conflict, then you transcend that. So everyone that you are working with transcend
That
that.
is a present.
That's the key.
That is the present from
But the
the
key
inside.
is perspective. The key is the filter that you're using. And if you get to the top, if you find voice, you're still going to have pain and suffering. So even if you find the top of Western psychology, ego psychology, if you get totally analyzed, and well, which we would have chaos, but if you get totally at the top of this, you're still suffering, so you need to change the perspective and come this way. is what I understand.
Yes, you need to
you're saying.
change the perspective. Rather than looking at this way, you look at this way.
Right. And when
Yeah.
you get to the top, you're not really at the top because you're still suffering. You're at the top of what the limits of what Western culture are putting on you because they don't have this perspective yet.
Well, you need
Is
to
that what I understand?
transcend that.
That was my question: is
Yeah.
how do you think about going from the top to here? That was my question, because in terms that I understand this culture, there is a top and it's still very egocentric. It's probably the epitome of egocentrism in a way. I mean, you're letting go, but you're not really letting go. So that was my question. Thank you.
就是说，
他的意思就是说，虽然哈你也已经意识到了，就是比如说我这些 experience， 我过去的这些 experience， 过去我曾经把它认为是一种羞耻。虽然我现在呢，我也意识到了这并不是一个羞耻，我也开始去接收它，这就是我的曾经的功课。我现在已经做过这个功课了，我不需要再去为它羞耻了。但是呢，我有时候还是会有 pain， 我还不能够就是真正的就是觉醒。
那首先就要问，我为什么会羞耻？我的什么认知使我产生了羞耻？因为所有的源头源于我们的内在的认知，就执念。我执着于一个什么样的原则，什么样的认知，让我产生了羞耻这个状态。就像是亚当跟夏娃，是吧？他偷吃禁果以后产生了分别，当他有了这个分别念，这个分别的念头就派生出了这种羞耻。所有的原因都是一执念，执念会产生认知，那就是业。所以这个羞耻心，就是源于分别。所以当你用这个，当我们从更高一个层面去理解我的什么认知让我产生羞耻把那个认知给颠覆，发现那个认知，我认为它是不好的。但如果我反过来想，它是一个提醒我的一个信号，这个信号能提醒我，让我超越我的恐惧心。
对，主要还是在恐惧。
因为呢，我不相信我本自具足，我不相信一切都是假的，所以我把这些东西当真，我认为我是有限制的，但因为我的生命是本自具足的，本自具足的生命，你是可以任意的创造你的生命状态的，但是因为我执着在一个我是不对的，我是有问题的，我是这样的指令系统里的话，这个指令系统是由你的自己内在和外在的投影的一种循环的恶性循环的强化而产生的
纠缠。
对，那我就知道那个但是根源还是我自己发生的，不是外面给的，我自己的这一点就产生了这种循环，投影循环，就产生了这个。
So basically, really is that, let's say is that somebody already have the realization that these were projected by themselves, because the pain has already long gone, right? Long time gone.
Exactly. It's just a neural
long gone.
circuit. Yeah.
But each time when there's similar things happening or whatever, immediately you go back to that. You're feeling shame. There's so many triggers. Right? So many triggers.
It's a comfortable pattern. It's a pattern in your brain.
And you just go on, right? Well, if that's the case, still there's work to do. There's homework. There's homework to do, right? So then is that really is that you have to break that. You have to break that. Like every time when you catch yourself, that the same kind of pattern or whatever, the same feeling, whether it's like a gripping feeling or whether it's a fearful feeling or whatever it is, is that immediately when you, feel that or coming up, you feel like there's something in the back of your head or something, or back of your heart, right? When you have that feeling, is that, you still have homework to do.
Right.
And you need to let that go. And one of the thing is that, like one of the key thing, there's only just 4 or 5 key things, that this language is so simple that he talk about is that everyone, they are sufficient. They have their own efficacy to achieve perfection. And you really need to have that imprinted in you. You are having the efficiency to be perfect. You have to really like imprint that. That's why, you know, these instructions from them, from his system, is so important. There's a few things like imprinted into your DNA. So you have this belief that you are sufficient. And, you know, so you just continue doing your homework. You just continue doing that, and then establish you know, the belief that you are sufficient.
But what,
you know?
Yeah, I guess, and I'm going to stop after this, but what I'm saying is, if you shatter this pain inside of you, this suffering, and you go to a therapist and you work with your shame, you work with your trauma, and you shatter it, what do you come into? You say you come into a sense of self, that you are perfect.
Yeah.
If you say the words, you are perfect in Western culture, it means you are just good enough in the context of Western culture, not in the context. When you say you are perfect, you're reinforcing ego.
No,
And
actually,
so, no, I know you're not, but I think it's...
We actually don't say that. We don't say you are perfect. We say is that you have everything that you can be and become perfect. So it's that, you know, reaching of that, you know, proximity to, you know, perfection. But you are never really perfect. So it's a lifetime work.
So you have within yourself to go
to have everything.
To go even further than not being burdened by this shame. So
that's right.
So the translation has to be in terms of how carefully the word you is used. How carefully the word I is used, because if you use those words loosely in this culture, well, you're going to go down a very different path.
Yeah, well, basically, actually here the key thing really is that, you know, it doesn't need to use you and doesn't need to use I. It just says that everybody has everything that is sufficient to walk toward the perfection. But that's a walk toward perfection.
Right.
Nobody ever becomes perfection. So
that walk.
So practice is an everyday homework.
Right.
Practice is an everyday homework.
Just saying that many professionals
you don't
in
have
this
that
culture set you on a different path. Set your homework in one direction that is only going to go so far. Is all I'm saying, and it's the literal
words. Well, you can use the language of God. You can just say is that, you know, actually is that every one of us, you know, is that actually has all of the sufficiency, you know, to walk toward God or to, you know, connect with God.
Yes, when I was asking for the translation, this is what I meant by the literal translation. The devil's in the details. It's in this culture of I and me and you.
And you don't need
how
to
do you
use
get past those words? Because we all tend to think that the path is
awakening. You can say things like that, you know, like for example, awakening really is a process. It's a process of that, you know, when you are facing a different audience, you use different word, you know. In Chinese, we use 天人合一, right? 然后用那个在 Buddhism 我们用的是那个
明心见性，
明心见性，对不对？然后在禅里面我们用的是那个，就是在道里面我们叫就是无我忘我 ，you know， 无极 ，you know， right？ So in Christianity, it's really is that, you know, that
与神同在，
与神同在 ，you know, like you know, being with God, you know, being with God. Awakening is a process of that, you know. You are just getting closer and closer to God, you know. It's a process.
No, I think this is key, and I think this is the key word.
It's a process.
There's not an end by which you are confident enough so you will make money.
No.
It's more about being very selective with words like process.
It's a process. It's a process of, you know, that getting closer and closer to God. And with the Buddhism audience, right, you would use the word, you are just getting closer and closer to Tao, to Tao. And in Buddhism, there's a different word also, In Buddhism, we say is that, you are, seeing more and more of your Buddha nature,
Right.
You are coming to realization of more and more seeing your Buddha nature. You don't say is that now you are Buddha, No.
Right.
There's a different way.
Different way to connect.
Have one sentence use the scientist sentence.
Right.
Is go to infinity.
Go to
Go to
infinity.
infinity.
That's the process.
And dimension and
Reaching
approach the
infinity. Approaching
The
infinity.
same way
Right.
that every religion.
For every different
Where this might
practice.
be instead of God, you talk about approaching love or pure
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
Because God has so many connotations.
Yes.
This white man with a beard in the
The-
clouds, and beyond that. So
The
I
love,
think
the
there's
love
words.
is have the different level.
Yes.
Yeah, in the three dimension, the hugest, largest energy is love.
In the three
Largest in
dimensional
the three
world.
dimension,
right.
and the four dimension is a big love, and the five dimension is a big love,
Yeah, right.
and the n dimension n to infinity is a big love.
Right.
That's the God's love.
Yeah. And okay, so
In
this
the
is
in the Chinese, Chinese word is the 慈悲，慈悲啊
kindness,
啊
mercy.
yeah.
all this
It-
conversation this morning to get to 3 words: process, mercy, and love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a translation.
So
Actually, as the Dalai Lama says, my belief is very simple. Don't need temple, don't need prayer, need kindness.
Yeah.
That's
Need
what
kind.
Dalai Lama says.
Ultimate,
Yeah.
ultimate
We have that on
We have that
awakening.
hanging on the wall.
Ultimate awakening is kindness.
Yes.
Really.
Yes.
Even like when you start to have feelings in your heart, having kindness for Trump.
Right, exactly.
That's
Kindness
really
for
what
Trump.
it is. Really, that's what it is.
Wow, to have kindness for someone who causes so much suffering is very difficult.
Because you
Well-
realize he's suffering.
Right,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's
he is
so-
suffering.
Right, but
You know?
he's causing suffering, and that is
But
so,
I know.
But through
so
the
difficult.
suffering
But
he's
through the
causing, good
suffering,
things will
he's
happen in
causing
response.
people to right.
Yeah.
The
But that's
Holocaust,
your
right.
mind is speaking now. Okay? That's your mind is speaking now. But you don't need that.
It's my faith.
If
that-
you are really awakened, you don't even need that.
It's my faith that we do not make the world happen. We are part of a process
Yes,
beyond
we are
us.
part of it.
So we don't want to just say, terrible thing Trump doing, because yes, my mind, whatever, knows from bad comes good. That's the play of the universe.
Yeah, but I'm
It's
just
not an even
saying,
getting better, better,
I
better, better,
understand.
better.
And what I'm saying is that, when you actually really reach that point of ultimate awakening, which is Dalai Lama and, Buddhism, we say is kindness, is that truly, actually is that you have kindness toward Trump too.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
the thing.
Yes, I
That's the
agree.
thing.
It's just a
You know?
difficult thing. That's all.
That is awakening.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
Okay?
in the human history, we through the different part. The one is 原始共生 how the 原始
Like we were born, at the original state, together,
and 野蛮竞争
and then it's like I think it's called astrophy or something like that. Like you fight, for resources to survive. The Darwin theory, like the
survival
ones
of the
that
fittest,
strong,
yeah.
that survive,
Survival of the
But
fittest,
you
yeah.
have to really, the most fit that survive.
Survival
So that's
of
the
the fittest.
second,
Yeah.
second.
the war the
Right.
everything
The
is
war and everything is
like
because
that.
of it. And Darwin theory actually is
the people
is
is
wrong, you know that.
the people is realize
know that.
if we still continue to the fight, we disappeared in the war.
Right.
We all,
Right? We
yeah.
always crashed the war. So we changed to the civilization 的竞争，文明竞争
Civilized,
Civilized.
competition.
competition.
Right.
Right. But we ignore the very important things. Civilized competition is the people is together to fight with the nature.
Right.
Fight with the nature.
So
Right.
we break our life depend on the nature.
The earth, yeah.
Right.
So that is all of that is a suicide.
Right.
Right,
Together.
but you realize you have to depend on each
So-
other to do this.
So this
it's,
游戏规则就是this
Yeah, this
This-
game, this
this
game,
game rule
yeah,
is
this rule of
and
the game.
all of us the people the human
Uh-huh.
will crash or will
We invaded the nature, we
Right.
exploited the nature.
In the
You know,
Bible,
even
right,
in a civilized way, you know, that's also,
In the-
you know,
in the
it's a way,
Bible-
it's a suicide.
you have the Garden of Eden, right? So man, nature, all one, everything
Mhm.
together. He bites an apple.
Mm-hmm.
It's not knowledge he
Mhm.
gains. He gains
Shame.
belief in
Shame.
self.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
He
Lloyd.
gained the
He
shame.
gains.
Yeah.
No, he gains. But shame doesn't happen without self.
Mm-hmm.
First, he's self. The knowledge he got was a belief, not in shame.
Mm-hmm.
Belief in self.
Mm-hmm.
It's the belief in self
Mm-hmm.
as separate that gave him the
Yes,
sense of
separate.
shame.
Yeah, the
Yes.
the
Yes.
separation.
So
Yeah.
what
The
I'm saying is,
separation.
it's not the tree of knowledge so much as
Yes.
tree of belief
Yeah, and the
in separate
separation.
self.
And the separation.
And separation.
Yeah.
why is the snake?
Ah,
Uh-oh.
the wisdom. Snake is ultimate wisdom.
Right.
Yes. And the sine wave. Yes.
The dragon
This is great.
Dragon is can go to
Yes.
can go to the high dimension.
Yes. Yes. The height of wisdom. Yes.
The snake just the lower dimension.
Yeah, on the
Right.
surface,
Right, right,
on the
surface,
plane.
But leads to the highest wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. I like that. That's a great.
And
addition.
yeah,
Great
and you
addition.
need the sine wave to
Yeah.
you
That
know?
that it is a sine wave, a snake.
Wow, thank
That's
you.
And the thing we most fear, the instinctive, right, is this, right? We go because we have a self and we're not connected.
Yeah, we are holding on to it,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
right? We're holding on to it, you know,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can't let it go. That's why
So,
we cannot awaken.
We have the chance. The human chance is go to the fourth step. Is 和谐共生。
Like
harmony 共生的时候
surviving in harmony, like, you know,
in everything
surviving in harmony.
With everything the
With the nature,
With
with
the
the
nature.
universe, you know,
not only
energetically.
not only with the people.
Yeah, not
Not
only
only,
people,
absolutely.
but also the earth, the plants, the water,
Right.
you know, the everything,
Right.
you know.
But this
This-
was Krishnamurti
this was
feeling
why-
he was this.
This
Yeah.
was
Not
why that
separation.
10 years ago, me and my husband bought Eastover.
Mm.
We basically trying to bring this to people, like in a physical form. The only reason that we bought that place was to protect that forest. Because when I went there, when the owner showed us the land, we went hiking on the trail, and I saw lots of wetland.
Why-
Lots of
right.
wetland.
Why we need harmony survive? Not only survive, because if we can in the 3 dimension we have the harmony energy structure, we can upgrade
We can
to the
Upgrade, I
higher.
like this.
Yeah, we can upgrade.
awaken.
That's
Get a
the
new operating
basic.
system.
That is a condition.
Yeah.
Upgrade condition is at every level we can get the harmony, the energy harmony. We get the chance to upgrade.
Thank you.
That's最关键的、最重要的在这儿。就东方智慧是把这2部分结合在一起的，就纵向和
So the Eastern wisdom combines these two, you know, surviving in harmony, and also is that able to rise above that.
所以圣经、基督教是叫人们能够生存在一个 harmony 的一个
和谐的一
和谐的
个环境。
生活环境之中。夫妻呀、社会呀，方方面面是和谐的。他能够回归神的国，为回归神的国创造最基本的条件。
So he says that Christianity is basically that Christianity is that, you know, to teach people that to survive in harmony. When they are able to survive in harmony, you know, they all can rise up to God, you know, lead to God.
If I may, just share. I think my book for you will be a resource of, not me, not my writing so much, but some, of many people. Because I use the internet like, research, right? Pulled in, like Jill Bull Taylor, pulled in. So Krishnamurti, who you say is big in China, right?
Yeah.
But maybe they don't know this, if I may read to you, relevant to this. His most extraordinary mystical experience. That's a value, right? So he says, on the first day, while I was in that state of great physical pain, he was feeling pain, and more conscious of things around me, I had the most extraordinary experience. There was a man mending, fixing, the road. That man was myself. The pickaxe he held was myself. The very stone which he was breaking up was a part of me. The tender blade of grass was my very being. And the tree beside the man was myself. I almost could feel and think like the road mender, and I could feel the wind passing through the tree, and the little ant on the blade of grass I could feel. The birds, the dust, and the very noise were a part of me. Just then, there was a car passing by at some distance. I was the driver, the engine, and the tires. As the car went further away from me, I was going away from myself. I was in everything, or rather, everything was in me, inanimate and animate, the mountain, the worm, and all breathing things. So I collected all of these to build this.
Yeah, but you know, that's so interesting. I had that experience when I go and hike on the trail.
That's why I love you, Ying. That's why I show
No,
up.
I'm telling you,
I
serious.
know you do.
When I go and
I know.
hike on the trail,
I know.
really, that's how I feel. I feel that everything is me. You know, the bug, you know, and the tree, you know, the breeze that's blowing by, you know, the frog and everything.
Yeah.
I feel that is me,
Yeah.
you know? That is my existence, you know? And my friend, 他在我们的道德经那个组，就是那个詹定啊，他詹定他是利用站桩。You met him, John, Dr. John, the math professor. He's my classmate. You know, we went to university together for 4 years. Right? So he is a really awakened, like Buddhist meditator, right? And you know, his way of meditation is a standing post meditation. Okay, so he has this experience all the time. It's basically is that, you know, that when it reaches that point, everything is you. You are not different from everything that's happening in the world. You know. You know where his awakening come from? He actually at the talk talked about this at the library. I don't know if you remember. Were you there?
I don't think
He gave a talk. You give the talk the day after. He was giving the talk the day before, Friday night. He was talking about this experience. He was talking about, and the reason in his case, it was because of extreme pain.
Like Krishnamurti.
Yeah, it's extreme pain that. So that's why, you know, Teacher Liu says is that everything is it's a blessing to you. Every encounter, pain and everything and suffering, it's coming to help you to become awakened. So embrace that, then all of your pain is gone.
You know what, do you think people have greater difficulty in accepting happiness than suffering?
It's called
Accepting
epiphany.
joy? But do you think people
Western people can relate to that.
have a
They can.
greater difficulty in feeling joy and happiness?
That's where
than
the breakthrough
suffering?
comes from.
I wonder that's
That's
not.
the breakthrough.
We're always told we're suffering, we should go see a therapist, we should get past this, but
Yeah.
maybe we should be
See-
telling the opposite, we should feel joy. We should feel joy.
No. You don't tell them to go and feel joy.
No, but you have to give them permission to
actually it naturally happens. When it comes to that extreme point, it just happens.
But maybe you say they can't sustain it. With
Maybe not, or maybe
Maybe it
it
creates a
it
problem.
happens because you were.
Well,
did for me,
that
anyway.
is why you have teacher like this is important.
Okay.
It's because it's that giving you a chance to make that connection.
Ah.
And actually, it might actually happen in your life already. It's just that you are not realizing that.
You know, I could at some point share my experience because it does speak to this. I know Laura does not need to hear this again, and I've shared it with you, and I won't if you don't think it's appropriate. It takes about 5 minutes.
Please, yeah.
Excuse me, I'm going to go.
Okay.
I've heard this.
But it
story.
speaks to this idea of joy, what you do with it, because that was exactly.
No problem. Yeah.
So maybe you'll help me share this.
Uh-huh.
I'll speak and see my experience from which this book and my whole life changed.
One moment, could you see a little bit too far? So you can be seen, okay?
Well,
Okay.
ready for my close-up.
Okay.
Hold on, should we get
No,
ready?
you move to here, Jonathan.
Well,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Good boy, okay. Yeah, ready for my close-up.
Wait.